Welcome back to The Best Years. We've been speaking with Ralph Bertini about living life to the fullest. So Ralph, you've been having adventures your whole life, not just the gliding experience. You backpacked when you were in your early 20s. Where did you go?
Well, we left Toronto in May of 1971, and we backpacked our way to Vancouver Island, down the west coast, and then back across the United States, back home to Buffalo.
And what was the biggest adventure during that whole time?
I think the biggest adventure was going to the West Coast Survival Trail in Vancouver, because it's such a remote place, and the only way that you can get to it is by a little tramp steamer that took you down this ocean inlet. And we got to see a lot of villages, meet a lot of people from all over the place, and it was just an unbelievable experience.
Now, you've lived in Ocean County for more than 25 years, but you grew up in Buffalo?
Yes, I did. And in Buffalo, the spirit of adventure didn't live large in Buffalo. I mean, you were expected to either work in the Chevy plant or the Ford plant or the steel mills, and I found out early on that that wasn't for me. So
you somehow ended up picking up a camera, which led to a video camera and a career in television.
A friend of mine introduced me to 35mm photography, and I was so taken with it that when I found out about a video camera workshop at the University of Buffalo, I said, hey, cameras are cameras. Let me find out about this. And that's what really launched me into my career in television.
Which included shooting television news, directing television news. I mean, a lot of people don't know what it's like to work in television. How would you summarize a career in television? What's it like day to day?
Hours of boredom broken up by 30 minutes of stark terror every single day.
Sounds about right. You also spent a long time working in the nuclear power industry. You had a long career producing training videos and corporate communications for Oyster Creek. What is that like to work at a nuclear power plant?
Well, it was a very unique career for me, because coming from broadcast television, and at that time I was directing 6 and 11 o'clock news, and totally opposite, going to a corporate environment, a company environment at a nuclear plant was just something completely out of left field. But it was one of the most rewarding careers that I ever had.
What kind of videos would you create for the nuclear industry?
Well, we did a lot of training videos, how components would be put together, how they would be taken apart. So when Fred said, hey, where did this screw go? They could go back and look at the tape and find out where the screw went. Also, you know, we did corporate outreach, community outreach to let people know about nuclear power, because let's face it, not many people know how it really works.
And you actually went to 3 Mile Island?
Yeah, I did.
What was that like?
Well, it was kind of spooky at first. One thing you have to understand, that people who work in nuclear power are rigorously trained, and they receive requalifications every few years, and that is what really carries you through that kind of an environment. Because let's face it, it's not like you're going into a warehouse or anything like that. You're going into a radiological area. But it really, when you do it all the time and you're trained properly, it's just another day at the office. In 3 Mile Island, they had an enormous cleanup effort after the accident in 1979, and they employed a lot of people who documented that cleanup process. And actually, I was one of the very last people to enter that reactor building and do a video survey.
And now you're at Ocean County College, but you've also worked at Lacey High School. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about working in television production in education. What is your job like here?
Well, my job here is to oversee production of programs like Best Years, programs for the county, as well as programs for the college, and to support the faculty and staff with telecourses and materials for the students.
And what about working with students? Do you enjoy working with students?
It really, really is rewarding. I mean, it may sound cliche, but when you see the spark ignite, that's my reward. I've been doing television for 35 years, so I don't need any more practice doing it. But when you see a young person who's thinking about it as a career, see the spark ignite, and then you see them 2 years later and find out that they got a job at Food Channel, or they got a job at CBS Evening News, or they're working in Discovery Channel in the city. It's really a great feeling.
And they've had to put in a lot of hard work, though, to make that happen. A lot of dedication.
Yeah, they do. And what I tell my students all the time is that all you need is persistence and the desire to do it.
And when you're not at work, I understand sometimes you're sailing the Barnegat Bay by moonlight. What do you do in your spare time, Ralph?
Well, that's my most favorite thing. I mean, being here for 25 years and being by the water, there's nothing like it. I have a 23-foot sailboat. I especially like to sail on the full moons. There's nothing like sailing at night. People think, well, you can't see where you're going, but yes, you can. The moonlight reflecting off the water and just the quietness of a sailboat at that hour, there's nothing like it.
So what do you want to say to our audience about, now we here at the college don't really have trouble thinking of you as a senior because you're so energetic and so young at heart, but what do you want to say to our audience about going after your dreams even at 60 or older?
Well, should I tell them? You're never too old to have a new experience. Give it a try and do something you've always wanted to do. And it's not a bucket list item. Just do something you've always wanted to do.
Well, Ralph Bertini, we've loved hearing about your life, your adventure, and you're inspiring all of us to get out and do things that we've dreamed of doing. Thanks so much for coming on The Best Years
Thanks for
today.
having me.
And for joining me on this side of the camera. It's been fun having you.
Appreciate it.
So if you'd like to learn more about Ocean County College's digital mass media program, visit ocean.edu or call Ralph Bertini at 732-255-0400, extension 4316. Are you short of breath? Feeling tightness in your chest? In today's In the Know segment, some critically important information about the symptoms of a heart attack.
February is American Heart Month. Did you know that heart disease is the #1 cause of death? Hi, I'm Leslie Turgeson. About every 25 seconds, an American will have a coronary event. Heart disease is not just the leading cause of death in the United States, it is also a major cause of disability. No matter what your age or how healthy you are, it's important to know the symptoms of a heart attack. Chest discomfort, feelings or pressure of fullness, pain in the arms, back, neck, jaw, or stomach, shortness of breath with or without chest pain, cold sweat, nausea, or lightheadedness. Women often experience shortness of breath, nausea, vomiting, back, or jaw pain. If you or someone you're with experience these symptoms, don't wait. Call 911. You could help to save a life. For In the Know, I'm Leslie Turgeson.
Coming up after the break, we'll visit our dear old friend Lucy, one of the shore's most famous and unusual landmarks. We'll be right back.